informative. Some terms might have been new, but definitely she's done a good job. Now, second, we have our own past pupil who has been a very good student from the arts stream. She's also a writer, but today she's going to speak to you on a different topic. And I want complete attention because you just come from a nice break. And after this session, you have the last session for the day, Advocate Girish Kamath. Okay, he will be speaking about law, careers in law. Okay, so now I hand over to Isha to formally begin the program, the session, by introducing our resource person.
So I would like to ask you all, what comes to your mind when I say mass broadcast journalism, so very good news reporting, digital and print media, broadcast journalism. These are all facets of journalism, but there is something, a broad area called mass communication. Journalism is a nutshell, it's a part of it, but there is mass communication, and I'm here to tell you about mass communication and journalism. So I know a lot of you are very talented over here. So you have that minute-to-minute competition, no? So anyone, like if I have given you 1 minute to pitch yourself or to present yourself, if any one of you all was interested. So first of all, how many of you all are interested in a career in mass communication and journalism? I see future communicators, professionals over here. 1, 2, 3, anyone? Any more? So those who raised your hands, suppose if I invited you and said you'll have a minute to minute, or maybe I give you 1 minute pitch, where you pitch yourself about how you make a good communication professional. You want to give it a try? Okay. You can speak about yourself, about what you understand about the field, or anything. Suppose you pretend to be a journalist or a communication professional for 1 day. If I can say that you are a professional for 1 day, how would you interact and introduce yourself and come about?
I'm Mishkawaz, and the careers that I would like to pursue in the field of mass comm and journalism is broadcasting journalism in the field of sports as well as news journalism.
Brilliant. So she makes a good, I would say, a newscaster as well as a sports broadcaster. Very good, Nisha. So all the best to you. Anybody else who give it a try? You would like to pretend like a broadcast journalist and say, I am so and so reporting from live from Don Bosco High Secondary School. Anybody? Want to give it a try? Yes? You pick up. Nobody? You're like talented students, no? I know there's so much of energy in this room. Come on. Anyone? Anyone who wants to say? It's okay, you can just say anything that comes to your mind. No? You would like to write? So,
Good morning, everyone. And I am Mishkawaz reporting live from Don Bosco.
very good. Give a big hand to these stars. So, without further ado, as I mentioned, mass communication is a big field. So communication provides a huge scope for a variety of roles cultivated through training, interest and opportunity. Ultimately, it's an outcome of training, interest and opportunity. Journalism is one part of communication domain that provides opportunities in editorial roles, as you have mentioned, in news, broadcasting, in digital media, the print media. But communication also includes management, governance and education. Now what is management? When I say management provides opportunities in marketing, management and corporate strategy. And governance provides opportunities as writers and consultants. Education provides opportunities like I do in teaching, research and administration. Now, this is the big broad career compass you have if you think of a career in mass communication and journalism. Now when you're talking about journalism started with the print media. So obviously you have a scope in newspapers if you're interested in serious politics, social society, cultural affairs, and magazines if you're interested in lifestyle, entertainment, business. Okay? Then you have the broadcast. After the newspaper came, or the print media came, the broadcast media. Now broadcast media comprises of radio and television. So when you talk about radio and television, all the opportunities that are open, whether it is in the IT department, whether it is in the video editing department, whether it is in the reporting department, or in the editorial department, or in the marketing department, you have a scope in radio as well as in television. Okay? So, with now now you all are the current generation that does not usually consume television and print. Your life rests on the mobile phone. So because you all are on the mobile phone and you all are on the internet, everything is one shot away. You have something called digital journalism that has emerged. Where you have independent websites, the print, the quint. You have Times of India, the newspaper that became Times Now, the TV channel, and finally you have Times Internet, you have Times Web Space. So this is how it evolved. You even have Prudent Media, which is a TV channel, but they also have newspapers like the Goan, Hangal Puri, Goan Varta, and finally now they have started, they have moved digital, they are going Prudent Plus. So you have these fields emerge. When I'm talking about digital journalism, you have web-based journalism and social media. So web-based journalism is websites where you have news that was previously available in print. You have articles that now can be available to be read on the web. Then you have broadcast content, whether it is radio, now you can, instead of radio you have something called podcast. So you can listen to audio-based communication through podcasting. You have videos in the form of YouTube videos or any other videos that are embedded in these websites. And now if you're interested in television journalism, you can also look for a career in digital journalism where you can use your video skills, your video reporting skills, your video editing skills, and you can implement or apply it to the websites. But one of the important emerging components is social media. We are all the generation of social media. We love our Instagram, we love LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, we are there on it all. Okay? And we want to consume it because we have this FOMO, fear of missing out. Whether it is generally good or bad, we don't know. But social media has a lot of content that is required. And who generates this content? Communicators, not just journalists but communicators. So if you are a journalist, you can create content through say posts, posters, even short notes, sharing articles, sharing the news stories that are published on the web, but making people aware that these news stories are there. Because a lot of good stories are there out on websites, but people do not go to the websites today. They need to be informed that these stories exist. These type of education and knowledge exists. And who gives them that scope? You, the communicator, when you portray things, when you showcase them out on social media. So social media is one of the emerging field of opportunity for not just journalists, but also communication professionals. So if you're looking at this, it's good enough. But now, while the media landscape was evolving from print, we went to broadcast, and then now we are in digital, there is this bunch of people who believe that the media is not doing certain things right. There are a lot of things that don't get highlighted on the media. The media is more of mass communication. They highlight stories that appeal with mass audiences. But what happens to people who live in certain areas where there are interesting stories happening? Like say a woman, a lady in a remote village who's probably emerging as an entrepreneur. Or let's say somebody, one youth who's really doing great work. Or let's say a person in Bosco Higher Secondary School, if they are doing also some good work, but that is not highlighted. So you have something called the alternate media. Alternate media is something that you don't wait for a media channel or a newspaper to create. You become the creator. And this alternate media is in the form of fact-checking. Now what is fact-checking? So fact-checking, as it means checking facts. Earlier, what happened with this mass media phenomenon? There was a lot of political pressure from businesses, pressure from advertisers that you need to report things the way they like. And people were not reporting something is not true, what happens? You just sit with it? No. You fact check. You inform, because you are a journalist, you are a communicator, and your role is to not only stand there and write, but also to inform, educate, and inspire. So, you will tell people what is the truth. There are tools. When you go to the industry, you will learn of tools that are available to fact check information. Whether it is videos, whether it is images, to actually tell the audiences whether this is true, whatever people are claiming. Sometimes it even comes from big famous news websites. And people claim a lot of things. They say so and so is fighting with so and so, but it's not true. Sometimes they say that there is chaos happening in this place. You go to that place, there is no chaos happening. Or sometimes there is actually chaos happening, and people say no, there is no chaos. Everything is so peaceful. So fact checkers, they check the facts, they check the date, they check the place, they check the time, they check the person. And there are a lot of tools, major tools involved in this. It's easy to implement, and you can use this. And also there are websites like Print, which have Print myth busting. You have Boom Live that goes on. So there are many fact checking websites, and hence journalists now have become fact checkers because of too much of fake news. You must have learned the topic fake news. Now we don't have news, we have fake news. So how do you bust this fake news? You become a fact checker and you actually inform the public, because your role is to tell the truth. Okay? Now, besides fact checking, you have data journalism. Now, data journalism, we come in a generation where people are fascinated with data. Big data analytics. Now, what is data? Data is information in the form of numbers. It's numbers, but you may not be very fascinated with numbers because you're art students. But don't worry, you're storytellers. So you convert the numbers into beautiful storytelling and you inform people. That is called data journalism, where you convert numbers to beautiful words and you inform and educate the public. Okay? Community and niche media. Now what is community and niche media? Community media is, let's say, a group of rag pickers that don't get covered in the mainstream media. Or a community in a village like, let's say, Bundelkhand, who don't feature in news stories. There are a lot of things that are happening in that village. Let's say, people are engaging in farming activities, people are also producing a lot of content, but that does not get highlighted. So you have community media in the form of community radio stations, like let's say Radioactive in Bangalore, that focuses on rag pickers. You have Radio Udan, which covers the differently abled. You have Radio Bundelkhand, that covers the Bundelkhand community. It focuses on topics of women empowerment, agriculture, climate communication. So there are a lot of emerging fields of interest. It is not about, just communicating. It's understanding what is your core. Whether your core lies in psychology, your core lies in climate change, environment, and accordingly you see your core, business management, and you report it. So it's interesting. You can be, interested. Anyone can be a journalist. What they require is skills and knowledge. You have to be very well versed in your subject. Once you're well versed in your subject and you're confident to communicate it, you communicate. And hence you can be and work as editors, radio jockeys, reporters, podcasters, feature writers, photojournalists, video journalists. So it's not only about writing. If you're good with the camera, you can be a photojournalist. And if you're good with video, you can be a video journalist. If you're not good at that, but you like to work with software, you can be a video editor. Or if you are not into all this writing, but you love social media, you can be social media specialist or manager. Okay? Then, this is just one part of mass communication. It is mass communication, so it's mass and massive. You have management. So a specialization in management communication provides opportunities across multiple roles and industries. There are opportunities in marketing management, advertising, brand communications. Now marketing is basically You see a lot of advertisements that come in the form of, let's say, washing powder, from your Vico turmeric to anything, to now even the Activa or to Bali G. So all these brands fascinate you. Nokia, iPhone. And how do they fascinate you? Because of advertising. So if you are interested in advertising, you're interested in marketing things, you're interested in telling people and convincing people that these things are good, whether it is a product or a service, or you're fascinated about it, you can say you're fascinated about cinema, you're fascinated about the International Film Festival of India, and you want to market it. You're fascinated about, let's say, tourism or travel, and you want to join a travel company and start marketing whatever products they offer, the services they offer. You are also interested, let's say, in hotel management. So you can join a hotel company and also market them. You can, or if you are into education, hospitality, healthcare, you can join their companies also and be a marketing specialist or manager. Then there is corporate and strategic communications. Now, corporate and strategic communications are all your internal communications, your crisis communications, anything that involves keeping people on board. How do you handle stakeholders? Now, who are stakeholders? You have shareholding business management, you have two theories. You have shareholders and stakeholders. Shareholders are those people who own something in the company. They are the owners or they are people who have shares. They invest in it, okay, in that company. But stakeholders is anyone. Whether you are an employee, whether you are the community where the company is, whether you are the media, or anyone, you are a stakeholder. So when you have to manage communications between the stakeholders, you require corporate communications and corporate communication strategy. If you're good at it, you understand business management, and you're passionate about it, it's a good area to explore because it pays well, okay? Then you have public relations, which is a combination of marketing as well as corporate communications, where you deal and handle the public in any way. Through your product, through your service. Then you have event management, because now we are a place of a lot of events, whether it is International Film Festival, whether it is the IPL, ISL, whether it is Pro Kabaddi League, whether it is Serendipity Arts Festival. Every day there is something happening. The even Food and Cultural Festival, Purple Fest. There are a lot of events. Government is now, events are not only being organized like for fun, but even government is taking it seriously and they are also organizing events. Educational institutes are expected to organize events. So this is an emerging scope in event management. If you are somebody who's good at management, coordination, understanding, and you like these activities of events, you can explore this opportunity. And also you have something, a niche area called human resource management. Now if you are good at communications and you have a background, let's say in psychology and even management, you can explore human resource management. All the human resource management nowadays, you would require a degree in HR, but let's say a good HR professional is not available in the industry. You are a communication professional. You have a background in psychology. You have a background in management. You can make a good candidate for human resource. Okay? Then you have education, which all of you all have. We all start our life with education sector. So, as far if you are qualified in say mass communication and journalism, you can serve as an assistant professor like I am. You can also work as a teacher in schools and in schools and high secondaries, because now with the national education policy, I believe you will have skill-based courses that will start hopefully. So if any school requires media educators, communication skills professionals, you can even explore this. And you have instructional designer for online training. So you must have gone to Byju's and all your online training websites, right? So if you're a good communicator, you can collaborate with teachers and prepare content that is good to explore. Okay? And finally, you can even be an academic writer and you can go into administration. So when you move in big institutes like IIMs, say Goa Institute of Management, India Institute of Management, IITs, they have a big department. Okay? And they have multiple roles in marketing, in communication, And they organize a lot of events and they work on a lot of projects. And they need writers who can write the outcomes of their projects. So you can even be an academic writer. Okay? Then you have government. Where in government you can work as a public policy consultant and writer. You can also work as a public relations officer. So public relations officer is you're going to handle people, you're going to handle whatever schemes the government is organizing, who is organizing, or they have come up with. You have to communicate this with the people. So how do you bring this to the people? Through public relations. Policy, there are a lot of policies that are, in the framework, in the pipeline that the government thinks about. But unfortunately, there are no writers to write these policies and to share it with the public. So, the government needs communication professionals to work also as public policy consultants. And now, right now, if you see, elections are not just, not based on democratic principles. Like, elections are announced. I mean, 2 years' time, we're going to have assembly elections in Goa. So elections are announced, everybody goes and campaigns, and then whoever people vote for, the person with the most votes becomes the winner. Right now, there's a lot of strategy. So you have marketing, you have advertising that is entering the political space. And hence, the politicians require political communication strategist. So that is another big area that you can explore because government has the money. And when there is elections, there is a lot of money. Only doesn't reach some of us. Okay? So it's a good place to go and explore. And finally, you have audio-visual media in the form of, say, the film industry. So as a film producer, there's a celebrity management, TV production. You have TV production houses, different, whether it's the Balaji Telefilms or whether it's Star, whether it's Hotstar, Disney. And you have commercial radio in the form of Radio Indigo, Big FM. You have the music industry. You have Spotify. You have YouTube. You have digital video production like Netflix, Amazon Prime, etc. So this is your broad compass as far as career is concerned in mass communication and journalism. Now if you want to know the salary structure, this is how it works. In journalism, your starting salary could be, let's say, roughly around 2 to 3 lakhs per annum. But if the industry wants to keep you, you can even make up to 10, 25 lakhs per annum. Okay? So that depends on determination and hard work. You can see in audiovisual media, you can earn 4.1 lakh to 9.5 lakhs per year. You can even earn up to 15.3 lakhs. And if you go into a role of management where say that it pays you well, you have 2 lakhs to 12 lakh per annum starting salary. Okay, which you can be offered to 4.5 to 20 up to 25 lakhs a year. But that depends how you work. You have to learn, whenever you start anything in your career, you will obviously start small. So you have to start small. Initially your salary won't be that great. But if you perform through perseverance, hard work and determination, you can make up to 25 lakhs per annum. But that depends on your ability and willingness to stay relevant in your field and to also learn and adapt to change. Fine? Now, the pathways. What is the academic journey after 12 arts? Now, you all of you are 11th and 12th arts, right? So, after arts, what do? You can specialize in a Bachelor of Arts degree in mass communication, media studies. You can journalism. You can also consider literature, political science, sociology, economics, psychology, and history. So, just because you want to mass communication, it does not mean that history, political science, psychology, economics is irrelevant. They are required. When you are a communication professional, the more knowledge you have, the better it is. So, please take your subject seriously. If you want to branch out in a career in advertising without understanding consumer behavior, their psychographics, their interest, their motivation levels, you will not be able to be a good advertiser. So you have to be able to understand that is why you need psychology. If you want to report about politics as a journalist, you want to become a political communication strategist, you need political science. You need history to understand why things happen, why history repeats itself. So these are important. Always be mindful and you can study this, because in case you want to branch out in your masters and specialize in journalism, it's good to have a background in these 4 subjects. Unless you are thinking of having only a during your graduation, after graduation done, you want to search for a job. If you are thinking of your masters, you can always have an additional core and grounding in these 4 subjects like history, economics, political science, literature. Literature teaches you a lot. Literature is not only about English. You study the whole economic, social, political relevance of a person, a human being. You learn to understand the story of people and the power of storytelling. So it's also good, you can say, discipline to explore. Post-graduation, a Masters of Arts in Journalism, Media, Industry, Audio-Visual Production, or you can do your Masters in Business Management or Marketing, Branding, Corporate Communications, Event Management. Now, if you are interested, like me, to be an assistant professor, you will have to, of course, clear your UGC NET, which is an exam by the UGC. It is a national eligibility test, just like you have your NEET and you have your JEE. And once you clear it, you are guaranteed of being assistant professor, and plus your PhD. Okay? And you can do other professional degrees like theatre studies, performing arts, design, film studies from film institutes. Now, the educational institutes that you can consider if you are exploring an opportunity in mass communication and journalism. In India, there are Christ University in Bengaluru, you have St. Xavier's College in Mumbai, you have St. Stephen's and Lady Shri Ram College in Delhi, Symbiosis in Pune, you have Ashoka in Haryana, Don Bosco, a very old Don Bosco College in Banjalore, and many others. Okay? Internationally, you have Georgetown University and Columbia in the USA, you have London School of Economics and University College London in the UK, among others. And as far as other institutes are concerned, say you are interested in a career in film studies and production, then you can explore film and television institutes in the country or film schools outside globally. And if you are interested in a career in management communication, then management institutes in the country, or they call it business schools in the global realm. Okay? Clear? Any questions? Any questions? So now about my journey. What did I do after I completed 12 arts? So I studied Bachelor's of Arts and specialized in Media and Communication, English and Psychology. Okay? From Christ University in Bengaluru, and some of my significant work that I did as a student in Christ University was a media research dissertation, and also I presented my first paper, my first conference paper on the role of humor in portrayal of social issues in Rajkumar Hirani films. So I was very passionate about films and cinema, and I put that passion. So I see a lot of you all would be passionate about interesting topics. Mass communication does not mean politics, hardcore business, but if you're interested in films also and humor. So I used my knowledge of humor from the domain of psychology. I understood social issues from the domain of sociology, and finally film studies. So you combine the 3 perspectives and you can write a research paper. And that is how I wrote the research paper, and also I presented it at a conference. Then I organized an event called Consortium as part of event management course, where I understood what it takes, my first experience as an event manager. I interned at the Times of India in Goa, as well as 92.7 Big FM in Goa. Plus, I published a book of poems, my first book of poems in 2016, titled It Is Like Magic, a collection of poems which is available on Amazon. And of course, I credit my teacher, Ma'am Selza, Ma'am Shanti, and a lot of my teachers from Don Bosco, along with my background in literature that gave me the confidence to write this book. poetry, and I understood how the different forms of poetry can be used and applied, and you can publish your own book. Okay? And I did a social work through psychology, my course in psychology, where I mentored a student, okay, from an economically weaker section of society. I did a certificate course on contemporary dance because I was passionate about dancing. So it doesn't mean that, when you go and do your studies, it's all about studies. If you're good at dance also, you can do a certificate course on, let's say, contemporary dance. And I participated in various competitions. As far as my post-graduation, I am a Master's of Arts from Symbiosis International University, Pune. So some of the significant contributions that I did as a student there was a research and post-coordination in community radio. So I worked as a module coordinator, and I understood alternate media through community radio, and also I applied whatever all my understanding in the form of a research paper. And I did an internship at the News Minute and Prudent Media, which is right here in Goa. News Minute is in Bangalore. And after interning at Prudent Media, I worked on a research dissertation, again to study TV news in Goa. I organized the fifth estate, which was an event that brought about alternative media platforms together. As I informed in my earlier slide, different alternative media platforms, data journalism, fact checking. So fact checkers, data journalists, community media professionals, we brought them together and we organized a kind of a consortium where they presented their thoughts on how the industry works. Then I also studied courses in ethics because it's very important. When you are thinking about being a professional, you need to be a very ethical professional. In today's world, the biggest challenge you will find out is that a lot of professionals are not ethical. That is why people live in this dilemma. You will also encounter this dilemma when you move out of, let's say, Don Bosco. In Don Bosco Higher Secondary School, you will be brought up with the best of value systems, what it takes to be a good human being. But unfortunately, the world out there does not believe in goodness. There is a lot of, it's like in the Bible they say, I'm sending you like sheep among wolves. So sometimes you will be like sheep, but the world out there has wolves, and you will have to manage these wolves. How do you manage these wolves? By being an ethical professional. Don't worry. If you're ethical and you're right, you can set things right. You have to be confident to set things right. So that is why I did a course in ethics, then business and data journalism. Why I listed out that? Because I was the class topper in these courses, and it was very nice to study these courses. So you should also take interest, because I studied business journalism. I was able to be a good management professional as well and work at the Goa Institute of Management. It helped me understand the ecosystem of business, how it works. Okay, and data journalism is important because I told you all that we live in the world of data, but as students of arts and communication professionals, you have the power of storytelling. You can use words to make better sense of numbers, because the world is not only about numbers. The world requires words to make sense of numbers. Okay? And then finally, I did social work at the Missionaries of Charity here in Goa. And I worked on a news anchoring project. I wrote a couple of articles for our print newsletter. And also I did a lot of digital work as far as podcasting is concerned and as far as production is concerned. Okay? Now my professional journey. So I cleared the eligibility for assistant professor during my first attempt in the of the UGC NET. This was done to keep an alternative career pathway ready for me. So when during my farewell, in his farewell speech, the then principal, Father Samuel Holmes, had made this, had given this formula that you always need a backup plan in life. Okay? So whenever you move in the industry or you move in society, sometimes you will be in this situation where things might not happen your way. It does not mean that it is the end of the world. You should always be prepared. You should be agile. You should be ready to adopt. And you should be able to upskill yourself. And hence, I did this because I wanted to give back to society. I said it's not enough being a professional and working in the field. I also have to come and speak to young students and tell them how the world is and inspire them to bring about that change, to inspire people to create an impact. And hence, I cleared the UGC net, but if you want to be a teacher in mass communication and journalism, you have to start with industry experience. Because you cannot go and teach people without having practical knowledge of the subject. It is a professional subject. So you can't teach things that you have learned in the classroom. You have to understand how things work in the industry. And hence I started off my career with the International Film Festival of Goa, where I worked as a content writer. Then I moved on to Viva Goa, where I worked as a feature writer. And I moved to Prudent, which is one of the #1 channels in Goa, as a multimedia sub-editor. Finally, I shifted to academics, where I worked at the Goa Institute of Management, handling academic administration and research work as an academic associate. And finally, I'm here back home at Bosco College as an assistant professor. Now, some of my career milestones. So don't worry, I'm 13 years, you can say, young enough compared to your age. So I'm young, just like you, okay? But in this young career of mine, at the International Film Festival of India, I wrote feature stories during the first hybrid International Film Festival of India. Now, what is a hybrid film festival of India? As you knew that we had the pandemic. When we had the pandemic, life was not only about going in person and attending things. Everything shifted online. So when everything shifted online, what happened? You had to connect with people using online means. So in the hybrid International Film Festival of India, they decided to connect cine enthusiasts who could not come in person, but they were interested in attending the film festival. So they had registrations offline, like it happens throughout other festivals, and you had also registrations online. So covering that was a major challenge because half of the audiences were online. So how do you deal with that? So I had to connect with people online. I had to attend sessions also online, along with attending sessions in person, and I wrote stories about it. Then I wrote feature articles on health, education and politics, and also coordinated an entire magazine and its publication as part of Viva Goa. Then I moved to Prudent Media. In my role as a journalist at Prudent Media, I did editorial coordination with the Governor's Palace, including covering the visit of Cardinal Gracious to the Governor's Palace. So Cardinal Gracious had visited the Raj Bhavan for the first time in his life in 2021. And I remember when it was during the pandemic, when a lot of our world had shut, and some of us were living in this vulnerability, uncertainty kind of crisis where we didn't know what would happen. One good thing that the church and a lot of people did is they moved online. They told you that don't worry, the pandemic is not the end of the world. It doesn't mean that you are not going to survive over here. So mass media gives you that scope of connecting communities online, not just offline, but also giving them purpose and opportunity to live. So the church explored this platform of online world, and because of that I connected with Cardinal Oswald Gracious and I participated in his sermons. So I was quite, taken up by him. And it was very exciting. I got to know that I would have this opportunity to meet him. I went and I visited the Raj Bhavan. I also visited places that people do not visit in the Raj Bhavan. When I visited as a journalist, they told me that, you have managed to travel across the residence of the governor. There are a lot of people who don't have access to. So if you are thinking and you want to explore a career opportunity in journalism, you have access to a lot of things that you would not have this part of it. And then I also reported about assembly and panchayat elections that happened in 2022. And finally, I did multimedia work. At the Goa Institute of Management, I have a case study which is published in Sage Business Cases. I have worked as a policy writer and knowledge partner for an immersion program where I visited Madhya Pradesh and I understood the community in Bundelkhand, and I wrote an entire policy document for an NGO called the Development Alternatives, and it gave me hands-on experience about understanding content media. Okay? Plus I did academic report writing, event management, content marketing and designing. So a lot of events were organized in Goa Institute of Management and they needed somebody to even design their posters. So since I was good at it and have skills in Canva, you can also explore that as an opportunity. And recently I got to know that my research paper has been selected at the Responsible Management Education Research Conference, which is scheduled to happen in October 2025. Where a research that I work on social, emotional, ethical learning will be presented. And finally, I am working at Bosco College, where I work as an instructor of courses in media and culture studies, advertising and event management. I handle the media and publicity work over here and the coordination of other activities. Okay? So these are my career milestones. Finally, what it takes to be a good professional, you have to be agile and adaptable. Never be rigid in your career journey, be open to new opportunities. So I began as a journalist, but I moved to management, and from management now I am in academics as a full-time professor. Okay? So if you want to change your careers, you want to explore new things, sometimes life doesn't end. Don't look at it as an end goal. Like, I want to be a journalist, so I want to do journalism and be in the media industry. No. You have to learn how to be agile and adaptable. You have to know that as a communication professional, you need not always use communication as your qualification, but also communication as your skill. Because so you have to learn to adapt in an innovation-driven world when possible. Prioritize qualifications whenever required, otherwise use your skills, because communication is a relevant skill in the inner development goals framework and also in the principles of management education, I-5, impactful 5 characteristics criteria. So it is very important. Management is also looking for communicators. Politicians are also looking for communicators. Be moral and ethical. Character is the fundamental aspect of your personality. Every time we are pressured to become some professional person in life. Professions change, but your character, if rooted with values and morals, stays forever and crafts your personality. So remember, whenever you are pressured or you're in this kind of situation in life where you feel that life is leaving us, your character is going to hold value and it's going to make the person you are. It's not going to break you. So always be moral and ethical, be resilient. So resilience is an important theme, part of my research in psychology when I was at Christ University. So I didn't know what was resilience at that point of time. What do you mean? Anybody knows the term resilience? Have you studied it? What is resilience? Anyone? Yes? Very good. So, resilience, as she rightly said, resilience means the ability to bounce back. No matter what happens in life, you get up. You may not get up all at once, but you get up gradually. So be resilient, because when you're going to move out in life, you're going to encounter challenges. Life, you might be going now only to study for your board exam, to even to participate in competitions, handle all this pressure is quite a bit now as students. So when you move out also, things are going to be tough, but don't worry. If you are rooted, you are grounded, you are resilient, you will perform. So be resilient to challenges. Your setbacks and drawbacks are not the end of the world. Better to give up on a job than to give up on life. Do not give up on life. Okay? Rest if you must, but don't you quit. Okay? Keep that as your want to check, if you want to reach out, you can reach out to me on my email ID. These are my email IDs, and also on social media platforms. Instagram, Behance is my portfolio for design. Makrak is my portfolio for journalism, and LinkedIn is my overall professional portfolio. Finally, thank you and wishing you all the best. Looking forward to seeing you. Okay? So I would like to take this opportunity to thank Selsam and Shanti, y'all students, for your attention, and the entire community of Don Bosco Higher Secondary School. It feels good to be back home and to inspire young minds, and I'm very happy to know that you all are capable and competent students. But I'm sure if you follow these things that I've told you, these career pathways, you will make good professionals. You just need to stay focused and stay rooted in what you learn. All the best.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your insights and your experiences and for motivating all of us. We shall now have the formal vote of thanks.
What an insightful session it has been. On behalf of the arts faculty and the entire student body, I'd like to extend our heartfelt thanks to our speakers for their time, their words, and the inspiration they have shared with us today. Thank you to our audience for your attention and energy. And let's carry forward this spirit as Arts Faculty Week continues.
For mass communication of general aspects. Any questions? Oh, good question. So, one thing about being in journalism you have to understand is the field, in reality, the field does not pay that well. And hence I've given you a perspective on management communications, where in case, it depends on how you place yourself. If you're somebody who's passionate about journalism, you want to make a difference, you feel you're good at that skill, it's always good to start. You have to start small, you have to start somewhere. You can't start big, so you start. But if there is a situation in life where you feel that you require some finances and that career is not supporting you, then you have management communication, you have academics, you have governance which you can explore. So as you rightly said, yes, it's not always guaranteed, it all depends on you. If you are a person who can make a difference, you can convince your management to pay you where they pay you. But if you can't convince them and cannot convince, they may not pay you. And of course, a lot of things work on corruption, unfortunately, in journalism, because the salaries are low sometimes. So a lot of times you are pulled into making more money through corruption. So that's why I say you have to be moral and ethical. But you can always explore an opportunity in management communications. That's something that can pay. So initially, it's good to start, because when you're young, you have this fire in your belly. So you have your fire in your belly, you can always go and do it. By money is not important. Your passion and your desire is important. And purpose of creating an impact. If somebody sees the work you have done, they will always use it as a foundation for your alternate career opportunities. Okay? So fine? Understood that? Yes? Okay. Any other questions? Management communications, as I mentioned, it can be, you can go into marketing, advertising, corporate communications. So corporate communications, when you have these annual reports of companies, you have their websites to be managed, you have these, you have any letters or any content that needs to go across their stakeholders, and as I mentioned. So management communications helps you with your role as a communicator. You can always use those skills, and you can draft your press releases, you can draft your reports, you can draft your communication material and send it across. Okay? You can also market them. You can also impart whatever vision and mission goals are there. You can showcase them. You can, whatever things a company is doing, you can also create a video about it. Okay? cleared your doubt?